Let's talk now about the morning after pill. Should it be available over the counter, not just in a pharmacy, but in other areas as well? Dr. Sonia is with us, our regular contributor. It's always good to see you, as well as Georgia Gilholy, a freelance journalist. Ladies, you go first.
Yeah, I think we should be making it more available. I think having contraception's great. That being able to have sex without fear of pregnancy is really good. And we need to be making it as easy as possible for women to access contraception at a time and place which suits them. And particularly with emergency contraception, it's really important that you're getting it as soon as possible. So I think any initiatives that make it easier for women to access it is really important. I think we need to go further. I think emergency contraception should be free. So right now, some pharmacies are charging women £25 to £35 for one contraceptive pill, which is just, extortionate. And we need to be making sure that women have access to all different types of forms of contraception that they want, which we know is not happening right now in this country. So any moves to improve access is really, really welcome.
Georgia?
I think primarily I'm concerned about expanding access at the expense of kind of reducing safeguards. Of course, if you're over 16, you still have to have a doctor's appointment to get the morning after pill. However, if this kind of reform was to come into place, you'd be able to sort of go and buy it, like you would paracetamol or ibuprofen in any shop. And I think that, the morning after pill, emergency contraception it doesn't necessarily work well with everyone's body, with everyone's health conditions or other medications they might be using. That's one of my concerns. And I think also with particularly vulnerable people, whether they're younger, whether they're older, they might be in an abusive relationship, etc., victim of human trafficking, I think it's better to have a situation where you have a pharmacist or a doctor checking why they might be accessing the morning after pill, why they might be accessing it so regularly, so that if there are safeguarding issues, it's a lot easier to flag it. I know there are issues with cost. I totally agree with you that that's not acceptable. I think the issue is that you need to kind of solve that rather than sort of trying to skip over issues to do with waiting lists and costs when you're not actually solving the issue in terms of also a postcode lottery, I think, in terms of access.
Yeah, so I think, the emergency contraceptive pill is a very, very safe medication. There are very few side effects that you get, and actually, to be honest, no sort of real serious side effects that you get from the emergency contraceptive pill. There are other medication that you can get off the shelf that has more side effects. So it's a medication that's widely used and very safe. About safeguarding, I understand your concerns about that. But to be honest, if you're someone that wants emergency contraception right now, you can get it. You can go online to an online pharmacy and you will be able to get it, even if you're underage. And I think the counter to that is, let's say you are like a 15-year-old girl who's had consensual sex with a partner, the condom broke, wants contraception, doesn't want to become pregnant, but then feels too nervous to go to the pharmacy and have to have that conversation in the pharmacist. If they then don't get the contraception that they want and end up having an unwanted pregnancy or having to go through an abortion, then that is, I think, more harmful to that woman. And we do have a problem in this country that 45% of pregnancies are unplanned. We know that the number of women seeking termination of their pregnancy is increasing. It's now at record highs. So we need to be thinking about how we make sure that women have access to the contraception that they need to prevent pregnancies that they don't want.
Georgia?
I think my issue is, I totally agree with you that, let's say, if you're younger, you might be embarrassed. We know already that at the moment, if you're under 16, you do have to officially go through a doctor, or a gum clinic, that sort of situation, so you do have to talk to someone anyway. I think that I totally understand why, especially, younger girls, they might be embarrassed or nervous, but I think you need to have these systems in place to try and make sure that abuses, and even if it's obviously rarer instances of people being abused, that it is flagged. So I think that, the world is full of systems that kind of we feel we might not need because we're sort of okay and we don't have, any kind of issues at home or anything like that. But I think we need to have these bigger systems in place. So when there are rarer cases, though unfortunately it's not rare, lots of people are in abusive relationships, unfortunately, that kind of thing. London, for example, is a huge human trafficking, sex trafficking hub in Europe. I think you need to have those systems in place so that they are flagged, whether or not, you or I might feel comfortable going to the doctors or going wherever.
Yeah, I agree, but I think that shouldn't be. I think there's a balance here of risk and benefits, and if if we make it more difficult for women to access contraception, then that means more unplanned pregnancies, which I don't think is the right thing to do. And we know from surveys that have been done by women that they're finding it difficult to get the contraception that they need. And right now, the current situation where you have to go to a doctor or a pharmacist to get that contraception, we know that's difficult. You know, it's really hard to get a GP appointment. And pharmacists, for example, on evenings, on weekends, on bank holidays, are not open. And with emergency contraception, the quicker you take it, the more effective it is. So if we're putting in that extra barrier for women to get the contraception that they need, then they're more at risk of having a pregnancy that they don't want.
Okay, final thought, Georgia.
I also think, in general, I totally agree with you that it's people's choice to get that and they might feel really pressured or in emergency circumstances to get it. However, I think also the pill in general, there's a lot of younger people kind of turning against it because they think that the hormonal drawbacks are sort of worse than the benefits.
Yeah, absolutely. And we need to be giving women full information
Sure.
and trust women to make the right decision for them.
Sadly, ladies, we're out of time. That was a fascinating debate. Thank you for taking the time. Really appreciate it. Thank you.